Let us get back to you. Let's talk about perhaps themes on the record. And "Do You Dream of Armageddon" is the opener, and I think that basically sets the mood and the vibe for the record. Please tell me about the themes that come up lyrically on this album. Perhaps beginning with that opening tune.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're sort of set in the world right now on a knife's edge, and it's an interesting place to be, but it's also an interesting place to ask questions. I think none of us have the answers, and none of us want to be shoving what we think down anyone's throat. It's merely an observation of we are at war with each other. We are at war with our climate. We're at war with pretty much anything we can get our hands on. And it's just an interesting place to be. I think, Dan wrote the lyrics for the record, but I think, he's got a young daughter now, and he, having been through everything that we've been through, your eyes open and you're like, fucking hell, like, it's not like, what can I do to save the world? One person can't do that. It's like, what are we as a group of people? How are we going to be able to save the world when we can't even have a fucking conversation with somebody we don't know without starting an argument and being like, I'm fucking right, you're fucking wrong? And I think, that's a big thing with the right and the left. It's like, then there's no conversation. There's no meet in the middle, or like, oh, I hear you, but what about this? It's just, I think, especially in the world of being online and being able to put something completely flippant out there and then just turning it off and moving away. It's it's a weird world and a weird place that we find ourselves in. So it's the record, I think, is really observing that. And I think one of the big things about it is, I think when I listen to it, at least, and I think I speak for Dan as well and the rest of the guys, I think it really depends on the mood you're in and where you're at mentally with that day, because, especially in this climate, pre-COVID, everything was fucking crazy, and now you add that into it. Some days you feel ready to take on the world, and I'm ready to have difficult conversations, and I use my platform for what I believe is good, and then some days you just want to fucking hide. And I think the good thing about the record and the fact that it feels like a kind of social commentary is when you listen to it, it can go with how you're feeling at that time. But rather than being like, fuck, this is really daunting, you can relate to it, I feel.